Yeah, that's you're listening to Cowboy Bebop the podcast. Hi, this is the Dead Air podcast. We officially have a name now.
All right.
I'm your co-host TJ aka El Topo. I'm also very tired. And I am sitting virtually in my virtual horror den with none other than Chris, the man, the myth, the legend. Uh, you know,
Parts.
all the men, all the women love him, and all the men want to be him. You know what I mean?
That
And
couldn't be further from the truth, but I appreciate it.
all the NBs are just they don't know what they don't know how to react to him. We love him, but they just don't they just can't handle him. You know what I mean? Uh, anyway, hi everybody.
Hey
Chris,
guys.
what are we talking about tonight?
Today, you chose, which I'm glad you did because I love the Halloween movies, the
Yes.
Halloween trilogy.
Yeah,
So
the new
new.
the new yeah, the very confusing what I think canonically the third movie. There's three movies that are just called Halloween now. There's Halloween, and then there's Rob Zombie's Halloween, which is also just called Halloween. And then you think I would do my research. I can't remember. It's a three-name guy that made the directed this movie. Joseph Gordon Green, maybe.
Yeah.
Um he directed this one, and it was Halloween, which I believe came out in 2016, and then Halloween Kills, and then Halloween Ends, and it's a kind of it's a sequel trilogy. It's also like because it's canonically it is a the first one is a direct sequel to Halloween. So these movies pretend that Halloween 2 never had like none of the other sequels happened because this
TJ,
is
you know
a
what? It just occurred to me
yes.
that they need to have a Halloween cinematic universe, just like
Oh
they do
yeah.
for Marvel, just to
Yeah.
make sense of all this. Because until you just like cleared this up for me, I didn't really get it either. So
Oh,
I'm going,
it's a fucking
it's a
mess.
mess.
It's a
Yeah.
fucking mess. Well, and the funniest part is that like John Carpenter, like famously, like own like, and I totally agree with him to be honest. Like he only wanted to make the first one. He only made the second one because he needed the money. Yeah, and he made Halloween 3, but Halloween 3 which I love
Mm-hmm.
Halloween 3,
Yeah.
but Halloween 3 doesn't have it's not has nothing to do with Michael Myers because he thought you could take it, and his idea was to make Halloween into a yearly movie that was just like a weird, scary movie premise, which
Yeah.
I to me is a good idea, like almost like a horror anthology series. But people hated it at the time. It's been people love it now, but they hated it at the time. And Halloween 3 to me is a banger.
But you could kind of say that his concept kind of plays true with I don't want to jump too far ahead,
no,
but
it's fine.
plays true with Halloween Ends.
Yeah, well, we'll get
But we
into
we can get
that.
into that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's
Well,
start from the beginning.
because I want to start off just by my very brief impressions of all three of these films. Halloween, the first one, I thought was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought it didn't reinvent the wheel at all. Like it's very by the numbers, right? But it's good. That's what you want. You know what I mean? It's very like I think it's a very simple movie, well executed, and it's violent. And I think Michael Myers is cool. I liked some of the like I like the nods to like the very beginning where they have like these true crime like podcasters. Like that's a fun enough
Yeah.
nod to like nowadays. Um, and Jamie Lee Curtis as she's this like kind of shell-shocked mother now. Like it's cool, right? And I was like, this was a good movie, and I felt like it set itself up to continue. Like I was like, all right, that was good. Like I honestly like, and you can go back to movie the podcast episodes. I was like, I hope they don't ever make another one because I was like, this was fine. It ended fine. Like this is it. That's all you need. But of
Now,
course,
did you find yourself constantly comparing it to the original?
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest problems with whole sequel trilogy is that they constantly open up the comparison, right? Like they mirror shots, and they do a lot of like, they do a lot of little Easter egg things here and there. So they're like opening comparisons left and right. I mean, of course you're gonna, but like they don't shy away from it at all. Like,
Do you see that as paying homage, or do you think that's just straight up copying?
I mean, it's an
Like,
homage. It's you walk a fine line, right? Because I feel like it's cool. Like it's weird, right? Because I feel like I could point to like several examples in other movies where it's like I'm like, oh, that's really neat that they did that, but like sometimes it just feels like, I don't know, it's like too much. Like I already know what I'm watching, and
yeah,
also like there's a rule I have where don't remind me of a better movie, because like as much as I like the first of these, like still Halloween's a superior movie. Like it's
yeah.
much better, and don't remind me of it when I'm watching this. No, I don't know. This movie isn't egregious, but like I honestly, like I like it more when directors like lift stuff from other movies. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like if you're making like for I can't think of anything, but like Kubrick did it all the time where he lifted stuff from other movies to put it in his movie, but then he'd make little nods for you to point at that direction. Or obviously Tarantino is like the biggest example of this,
Mm-hmm.
which people hate. People now, like, it's such a fun internet take where like, oh, Tarantino's a hack, and he like Kill Bill is just Lady Snowblood, and it's just like, oh, it's not, but like, okay, like
But
Lady Snowblood's
also think of
like,
how many movies he's turned you on to because
well,
of
yeah, and also like
the way he directs.
he's not a guy to shy away from his influences. Like he started a production company so those movies would get released over
Right.
here. It's not like he's like,
Yeah.
no, he wears his influences on his sleeve. And my argument to people that are like, oh, he's a hack, it's like, okay, well, he still wrote all these movies. Like he still gets great performances out of his fucking actors. You know what I mean? Like I don't there's a lot more to movies than just the scene. I don't know. People sometimes like infuriate me with how they like break down movies. It's like, well,
You know what they
you know,
say?
hmm,
Haters gonna hate.
what's that?
Haters gonna hate.
That that is what they say.
Ballers gonna ball.
But anyway,
Oh, and
that,
let's just clear
and
things up
yes,
before we get hate uh in the comments section.
yes.
Uh I don't know if it was said, but if we incorrectly stated it was something close to Joseph Gordon-Levitt that directed
Oh
this
yeah,
film. It's
no, it's
David Gordon Green.
David Gordon. I said
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon Green. Yeah, David Gordon Green.
Yeah, yeah.
Co-written, I believe, co-written by Danny McBride of all
I
people.
saw that. I saw that in the
Yeah,
credits. I was like, no, that can't be the
yeah,
David McBride.
Danny McBride. Yeah, no,
Amazing.
same guy.
What can't that guy
So,
do?
so anyway, so the first one I really liked. Then Halloween Kills came out, and I despised it. I thought it was ridiculous. I didn't understand like the direction it was going. Like the first movie ends with this weird moment where Laurie's granddaughter is like looking at the knife as they drive away, and they like make it a point to show you this. So you're like, okay, is she gonna take up the mantle? Like, what is
Mm-hmm.
the, and then they like drop that completely. And then you get they the Halloween Kills, like they don't know what to do with Jamie Lee Curtis, so she's only in like 2 seconds of the movie, and it's like, what? And then they like kill like a mentally handicapped guy, and they keep saying evil dies tonight, and they
We had a good laugh
gather
about that one.
they gather together a posse of like senior citizens to kill Michael Myers, which is fucking hilarious. Also, uh one of my problems that goes throughout this entire trilogy is Michael Myers is conservatively, I don't know, 70 something years old in these movies. And
That's very conservative, I
I
feel
mean,
like.
probably older, right? Like
Yeah.
if the original came out in what, 78, 77. So
And
you
he
figure
is
he
a
was
brick house.
right.
He's just throwing people
So
around.
so
Like
at
it's
77, he's like 30 years old. So
yeah.
maybe 20, who knows? But he's old. That's my point. And he in these new trilogies, again, they're super violent. He's not getting like, a passing blow. He's getting stabbed, his fingers get cut off, he's getting shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And the second one's really bad. Also, one of my biggest problems with the second one is he's literally like, the movie ends with him being surrounded by all these townspeople, getting like beat down and literally shot, and like he's getting, but like then he just got away. Because when the third one starts, it's like he got away. How the fuck did he get away? What are you talking about?
Let's go back a little bit
Sure.
and like set up the scene a little bit for anyone who hasn't seen it,
Sure.
because it starts
I
off.
believe all these movies are on Peacock, by the way. I think if they're
Yeah,
available
I
to
watched
stream on
them
Peacock.
on where did I watch them? HBO Max and Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
so the main character, um, I don't know if he would be considered the protagonist or antagonist. The guy who bears an uncanny resemblance to Michael Anthony Hall.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that guy in two. Yeah,
yeah,
I think it is Michael Anthony Hall,
it
isn't
is
it?
not. I looked him up. It
Uh,
is not. I was shocked.
uh,
But he sets the stage for what is going to be a showdown. Something's going to happen.
yeah.
Like Halloween night, they're all hanging out at the bar talking about the mystery of Michael Myers. And in fact, there's also a cameo by a real housewife of Beverly Hills,
I
Kyle
had
Richards.
I
I
had no
spotted it right
idea.
away. um, Not superb acting, not terrible, but it you see immediately where this is going, and it's going
Yeah,
to be like a vigilante mob that's going to be chasing Michael Myers around for the entire movie. They set it up from the beginning, and that's
yeah,
exactly what they do for the
yeah,
entire hour and 40 minutes or however long it was of that
yeah.
film. Um, what did you think of the when they introduced the maniac that escaped the asylum?
Uh,
I,
uh, uh,
I
I didn't
I didn't understand
understand.
the point of that.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't understand the point, and then they again like the whole like this movie is so ridiculous because like I guess they're trying to do the whole like frenzy of the mob mentality, but like the
Right.
guy clearly isn't Michael Myers. He's several feet shorter than him, and like
He's shuffling around in mental patient clothes,
yeah,
and he looks very concerned for his own safety.
yeah.
You
Also,
can't say that for Michael Myers.
I need to point out the timeline for all of these movies, really, but specifically the first two is a fucking mess because the second one and the first one take place at the same night. So it's like
Hmm.
very confused. Like, how long is this night? Like, it's very fucking confusing. Um, but yeah, the like there's so many like weird missteps in this. Again, the fact that Laurie isn't in the movie at all. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like it's funny, right? And again, I'm gonna go back to what I said about the first one. The first one's kind of perfect, right? It has the Laurie Michael showdown that you want, that they're building to in the very first one, and you have that great scene where Laurie has made this like straw dogs esque house with
Yeah.
all the traps and the guns, and it's great. But then, like, through the other two movies, they're like, oh, we still need to have this climactic Laurie Michael showdown. And the second one, they didn't know what to do. So they just were like, all right, kick the can down the road. And then in the third one, they like forget about it. And then like they remembered it like the last 10 minutes, like, oh yeah, we need to have this showdown. And it like is so half-assed that it's just like, well, why did you like I don't understand. Like I feel like these movies were like one movie deep. Like they had this idea and they're like, okay, that's good. And then it did really well, and they're like, all right, we got to make two more, and they're like, I got nothing. I don't
So
know. It's just
David Gordon Green's like, listen, I got to wrap this up. I got other projects to do. I
yeah,
can't I
yeah.
can't base my entire career
And
off of
and
these Halloween movies.
the other thing is these things came out fast. These things came out
Yes.
like back to
Yeah.
back to back.
Yeah.
I think they came out within 3 years. Like they
They,
like just cranked them out. So that would also indicate that like they don't have any real production time in between these things. So they're just like, all right, come
so
on,
let's talk
hurry up.
about the second in the trilogy, Kills.
Yeah,
How did you
kills.
feel overall about that? It kind of sounds like you weren't too pleased with it.
I hated it. I
I
I
hated it
hated
too.
it, and I was worried. Like I felt this is a weird comparison, but like I felt the way I did after I watched The Last Jedi because I'm like, well, I knew they're making a third Halloween, and I'm like, well, where do you go? Like I don't know what you do. I don't care. It's just like Last Jedi. Like when that movie's over, I'm like, well, I don't give a shit. Like there's not like they're gonna make another one, but like where do you go from here? And
I
both In both cases, the answer was they didn't know either.
The storyline was shit. The dialogue was shit.
Yeah, it was
And we
terrible.
even laughed. We hit each up over text,
Oh,
hit each other up over text about
yeah.
that line that
Oh,
it
Evil
must have
Dies
been an
Tonight.
Evil Dies
Oh, it's
Tonight.
great.
They kept chanting it, and it was
They,
so bad. Evil Dies Tonight, and they
I
had their
mean,
like pitchforks, their proverbial
yeah,
pitchforks, and they're
it's
like,
literally
oh
fucking Frankenstein. It's like
yes,
ridiculous.
that's exactly what it was. But
And
go ahead.
no, you're fun. I mean, people. I saw this in the theater, and people were laughing at Evil Dies Tonight. Like it just. I mean, and I got to be honest. Like I was saying Evil Dies Tonight for a while. I still say it once in a while. So it's funny. It's not
Yeah.
intended to be funny, but it's very
No,
funny.
definitely not. But that's what makes it funnier, is that
Yeah.
it wasn't intended to be funny, but it was a tagline they kept repeating throughout the film. It was like,
Well,
okay, we get it.
the thing
A
is
night's
too.
a night.
Like if you boil down this like idea, like the idea of, let's say, so like if I had my way and I could remake this movie, right, the idea of like, let's say this movie is trying to do something a little different, right? Like now Michael is the being stalked or whatever. Like let's say like you have it still doesn't really work because you can't have sympathy for Michael Myers, even though Rob Zombie tried in his movie. But even still, like you might be able to work something out. But the idea is like, so after Halloween 1, Michael Myers is still around and he's still like dangerous, but he's injured. And they kind of have him cornered in this town, so to speak.
Spoiler alert, just so everybody
Him
knows.
getting him, well, this is my hypothetical, so it's not real. But him getting like him basically fighting like trying to survive himself, there's a kernel of an idea. I don't know if it's a great idea, but that's a kernel of an idea. But instead, like it's just him being Michael Myers and just slaughtering everybody. Like I feel like they wanted to go in that direction, they didn't know how to do it, and it just it just doesn't work. You know what I
what
mean?
thought
Like
just entered my mind? What does Michael Myers eat? What is a typical Michael Myers diet?
Well, that's the thing. Like, what is anything? Like, what does he do? Like, he in the fucking third
on
one,
his off days from murder.
Is he
in
just
the fucking looking
in
for
the
jobs?
fucking in the fucking third one, he's like living. He's like the Ninja Turtles. He's living in a fucking runoff sewer off the side of the highway. And again, his fucking he would have died from like sepsis from his fucking multiple gunshot wounds and lack of fingers.
Not Michael Myers.
But that also like the thing that many people, including many filmmakers that have made Halloween movies, fail to recognize is Michael Myers is scary because he's a person. Like the beginning of Halloween, the original, you see that POV through his eyes, and it's fucking scary, and it's even scarier because then it's revealed to be a child, and you're like, holy shit. But that's genius. Like that's why the character works, because he's just a guy.
But then with that point, it makes him as a human, makes you kind of laugh to think like, oh, he starts off his day with like a little grapefruit,
right?
Yeah, like a little sugar, a hard-boiled egg.
What if he was like, what if he was like,
read some paper?
What if he was like one of these, like he's like, well, no, I can't have fucking gluten. Like I get, like he's like. Shits. He's like a fucking he's like a label reader. He's like, oh, I eat this Greek yogurt, but it's really, it's not quite, it's a little too high cal for me. I gotta stick with the French yogurt, Yoplait.
My cholesterol is already too high.
Yeah, he's like, oh, no avocados for me. They're all fat. They're a glamour vegetable. Not, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be funny if he has like a daily routine, like he
that cannot be interrupted.
Yeah,
like
no,
he was just unwind. After a long day of murder,
he listens to like Terry
he got
Gross.
to soak some bath salts.
Soaks in the tub. That's great.
Yeah, he listens to the Dead Air podcast.
Oh, what a day! What a day! Kicks his disgusting feet up in his gross.
Leaves his mask on.
Yeah.
Everything else gets washed. Nothing up here.
Yeah.
Which I would love to mention too. I don't know if you would agree with me on this. I'd like to hear your opinion. The mask still scares the shit out of me.
Mask is
especially
great.
With the melted portion of it. You can see it behind TJ and right behind me. It's terrifying.
one of the best things that I think this movie did a good job, because they really just took the same mask, but they made it like distressed looking, and
Yeah,
that's
scarier.
great. Look
Yeah,
great.
they nailed it.
Fame, everybody knows this, but it's everybody's favorite piece of trivia. That's a William Shatner mask that they used, which is still funny to me.
Yeah.
Um,
They didn't have to do too much to it to make it terrifying.
and he kind of just looks like that now in real life, because he's like
Yeah.
104. But
Except for the melted portion of the mask.
some people might say it's in bad taste to make fun of William Shatner because he's 104, but he did like murder his wife and get away with it
He
allegedly. So,
did.
yeah, allegedly.
Oh
It's very
wow.
suspicious.
Yeah.
Basically, like she like mysteriously drowned in like the middle of the day.
I
It's
think
like
we should reroute this whole podcast now to this William Shatner murder.
yeah, we're gonna turn
This
into
is
like
way more interesting.
what was that? What was that one? The fucking we'll turn into I can't think of it. Serial, like the new
Oh yeah.
Serial. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Dead Air podcast is only lasting 2 episodes. This is it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Now
all
we're
William Shatner from here on out.
William Shatner, more like William Kilder.
Nailed it.
All
Nailed it.
right,
You did
so
it again. Okay,
let's
so
move
kills.
on. Okay,
You
more
hated it,
kills.
but
Kills.
I would say
Hated
personally,
it. Oh well,
I
in
would say
in
the
in
gore. The gore is really good in my
Gore's good in
opinion.
the Gore's good in
And
all three.
kills. Yeah.
Well, and I
But
would
kills
also say
especially like
in the
it's
totality of
satisfying.
these, after seeing all three of them, I don't hate kills as much as I hate ends. Like ends to
Really?
me. Oh my
Oh, that's
god.
surprising to me. Okay, we haven't
Oh
talked
my
about this
god,
yet. So
ends.
okay,
Oh,
go for it. I
ends.
can't wait to hear this.
So ends is so I talked before about kills has like incredibly baffling decisions. Ends is like unbelievably weird decisions. Like first of all, it starts out with a bunch of like voiceover from Lori and like how she's like adjusting to life, and there's like weird like small talk where she's buying yogurt, which is a fucking nod to her being a fucking yogurt spokesperson, which I thought was fucking stupid.
What did she hawk? Dan Active or
No,
something?
yeah, it was like it was yogurt
Activia.
that helped.
Activia.
Activia, yeah, yogurt that helps you shit. But there's like weird voiceover, and it's like we're adjusting back to life, and it's like, well, why? Like, first of all,
Right.
this movie
Why?
takes
Why
this
stay there? Get the hell out of town. This is
this
your opportunity.
well, this movie takes place a year after him again, just running away. So he's not taken care of at all. But Lori is like, I've settled into like a she's not the Sarah Connor character anymore, where she's like, hell bent to destroy everything. So she's gonna adjust to regular life. Then they introduce you to this is above all else, this is the most confusing choice. The main character of this movie and main antagonist, Corey, um and that's kind of it turns into this weird sort of like romantic movie between Corey and Lori's granddaughter, and like their romance, which is weird. And then Corey becomes like Corey finds Michael Myers in a sewer, and
That was odd.
Michael Myers does like a fucking cling or what do you call it? The fucking
Telepathic.
Spock mind meld. What were the fucking Vulcan?
Yeah, he took one look at him and was like, "Now you're a killer."
Yeah,
and the guy was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, and that's
if you
something
blink,
that
you
happens.
miss it. If you blink,
that's something that
that's
happens
how quick
in
it
this
happens.
movie.
Yeah.
And then he literally becomes like fucking Michael Myers, like Renfield, and it's like, what even is this movie? And like it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like and then so that happens, and that's kind of the entire movie. And then like towards the end, they're like, oh wait, we never resolved the Lori Michael thing, so Corey gets killed, and then they're like, they have to stitch on a Lori Michael fight like in the last 10 minutes, and it's like then the movie just like the title, the movie just kind of ends, and it's like I don't know, man. Like this movie was just wild, because like the whole time I'm like, what am I watching? Also like the whole Corey backstory is like it's fucking ridiculous, because like he's like a bad babysitter, and a kid like does like
Bad
a fucking like
babysitter.
he does
That's
like
an
a hilarious
understatement.
he does like a hilarious like pirouette through like the weirdest staircase you've ever seen and dies. But it's like, well, really, like what? Like I don't know, awful, 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 and like it felt like a script for a different movie. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. What
I
did you think? 'Cause we
I
only got 9 minutes now. It's showing nine
and I don't
minutes.
even know if my computer will last that long. Um,
That's what she
so,
said.
what they all say. Um, I it was my, I would say, probably my favorite of the three, oddly enough.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's why I was surprised
That's
that you didn't
interesting.
like it
What
so
did you
much.
like about, man? We should have talked about this one earlier.
I think
What did you get into about it?
I think because of how different the story was. Like it wasn't
It's definitely
expected.
different.
It was different, and as much as I hated that part that you spoke of, where um, he met Michael Myers by accident in
Right.
the sewer.
In the
You know,
sewer.
it could have been a scene from It. It was like, or Teenage
Yeah,
Mutant Ninja
yeah,
Turtles. It was like, okay, don't go into the sewer. You know
yeah,
something bad's gonna happen there. Um, Meets Michael Myers. They like have a quick little hug.
yeah. They
There's no
quick
fight per
tete-a-tete.
se.
No.
It's just a little tussle, and then this guy turns and Corey turns into a serial killer.
Yeah,
That didn't make any sense.
it
That
doesn't
made
make
no sense.
any fucking sense at all.
Um, but I liked Laurie's character. I liked she came out swinging this time, and just like in all movies past, she's tough as nails. And it it just occurred to me, well, maybe, yeah, it just occurred to me that the reason she stayed was because she kind of figured all along, this is going to be the year I murder this dude,
Yeah,
Michael
well,
Myers. This is going to be the year. I'm not going anywhere because I'm the only. He's coming for me, so I'm going to murder him. One of
yeah,
us is going to
but
die.
they kind of forget that thread, and then they like that's kind of forgotten, and then kind of reignited at the end for reasons. It feels very like again stitched on. Like I agree with you. It feels like that's what they wanted, but it doesn't feel earned, I guess. Because again,
Yeah,
they kind of already did it. That's my problem. Like this already, the satisfying conclusion happened in your first movie.
it could. You could almost call Ends like the buddy comedy of the year.
I
It's
mean,
like
yeah. I mean,
it was like Michael Myers was like the Ren to Corey's Stimpy, or the Calvin to his Hobbes. They were like
yeah.
best buddies in murder. Like
I love that. That's
it
great.
was it was silly, but at the same time, it was like Corey's character. I thought as a murderer, he was pretty evil. And just when you thought it was bad, like here comes Michael right around the corner just to finish
Yeah,
things off.
yeah.
And
They
I was
were
like,
like
okay, this is different. And I
tag
didn't hate
team
it.
murder champs.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. And in fact, I kind of liked it. I thought it was enjoyable. Um, it was uh, not that any Halloween movie is any different, but this one was I felt like much more of a vengeance film.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Corey was going after the people that wronged him. And there was a long list of people that had wronged him. Whereas
yeah.
the previous films, it was just more of people just got in the way
Just
or were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
random innocent people. Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. I understand that. I get that.
So you would
It did.
say
It did
no,
not.
like no, okay.
It didn't work for me. I just because like I felt like I don't know. I felt like everything was like really clunky and not put together very well. Like again, just kind of like I said on the second one, like the idea of like Corey kind of like taking up the mantle is kind of an interesting concept, but the way they kind of go around it is to me doesn't really work. Like I feel like it's kind of forced and I don't find it like I don't know. To me, it's like just don't even put Michael Myers in it at all. Then at this point, like I
But
would
could
have,
you? I feel like there's no better person. We only have 5 minutes left, but I
yeah.
think there's no better person on this planet that could possibly describe the final scene of Ends than you,
Oh
because
God. Well, they I'm talking about when they literally like load him up into a wood chipper.
There was like a motorcade of like
Yeah,
people going down the street just to
yeah,
dispose of Michael Myers' body, and then
yeah.
go ahead, take it away, TJ.
And they have to yeah, I mean there's really not much to say. It's literally it's the scene in Fargo but not played for laughs. Like it's supposed to be this like really dramatic thing, and it's like I think don't they like slow like the last thing they throw in is the mask or something, and
Yeah,
it's like slow mo's in. It's like Jesus
yeah.
Christ. Like
I
I
thought
don't
for a
know.
second Lori was going to get pulled in. I was like, oh shit, that
That
would be a heck of an ending.
it would have been funny if the wood chipper like turned into Michael Myers and then like she got eaten, like the whole wood chipper like turned into the mask and then ate her. Like I don't know.
Or as she's trying to push him in, she trips and falls and goes into the wood chipper instead of him.
And it does that like it does that fucking like like she like slips on a banana peel.
And
Uh,
everyone's like, oh gosh, Lori.
Anyway. All right.
All right.
Well, we should wind down. We have 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Um, so overall, it looks like you got kind of like a thumbs in the middle kind of feel for the trilogy.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
decent. I
yeah,
would I would recommend them. I mean, I would say see them all. Like don't pick one or the other. Like I would just say just watch them all. Um they're all enjoyable for different reasons for
sure.
me.
Yeah.
They're all watchable. There's nothing I hated that turned me off of any one of these films. What about you?
I would say, well, first off, if you're like a total neophyte, just watch the original Halloween because
Yeah.
it still holds up. It's one of the best horror movies like ever made. But I would say just watch the first one and then just ignore the other two. Because I don't know, like I do agree with you that like ends is like really different and weird. I just don't know if it works. But like, you know, obviously from the two of us, like you're and it's all I always have to preface this when I talk about movies. Like you know, your mileage may vary and everybody likes different things, and that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like people like Skinamarink. I hated it, but like whatever. You know, I'm just voicing my opinion. So it has no bearing on it probably has absolutely no bearing on anyone else's opinion.
We
You know?
love your opinions, TJ. That's all
Thank
we
you.
want. That's
Thank
all
you.
we ask for. That's why you're
That's
on the
why I'm
show.
here.
That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
everybody's tuning in.
That's right. That's right. That's why the millions and millions of people are tuning in. We're waiting for that Harry sponsorship and Casper mattress and Raid Shadow Legends, all that shit.
Now Activia. Thanks, Activia.
And activity. I do eat yogurt a lot. I
I
love
eat a
you.
ton.
It's
So
so good.
much. So
Yeah.
good. With a little some chia seeds,
Yeah.
some
Oh, yeah.
walnuts,
Did
some
you ever
honey.
watch that documentary now with Bill Hader and he's doing that like monologue thing and he's like
Oh yeah.
he sits around and eats yogurt and then just throws them over top of the drawer and he says bye bye yogurt.
That's why I learned how to do it.
Oh my god, that
My
show.
wife hates me
All
for it.
right.
All right.
Well, we're gonna actually stop this show before the computer stops us.
We did
So
really good this time.
yeah, we did. We did. But anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Chris is working diligently on all our promotional stuff, so we should have all kinds of shit here coming soon. But tune in next week. We don't know what we're gonna watch it. We should probably figure out what we're gonna watch for next week
Yep.
to bookend it.
They
But
don't need to know now.
that's right. You'll find out when you find out.
All
All right. Bye, everybody.
right. Later.